Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I want to talk about Dead City Season 2 and some confirmation that we have about the episode. So I do want to talk about that and get into some other stuff regarding the show, because this show right now is looking really incredible. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming out like every single day, and I'm obviously not going to talk about all of it, but there's certain things about the show that just honestly, it looks really incredible, and I really cannot wait for Season 2 of Dead City. I do think it's going to be so much better than Season 1, like definitely better than Season 1, and I was a fan of Season 1. I did like it. I know some people didn't, but Season 2, just based off of the things that I've seen, looks really incredible, so I'm definitely very excited for that. And a big reason why as well is because we have confirmation that Season 2 is going to be 8 episodes. So I do want to talk about that and talk about Daryl Dixon and future Walking Dead shows and the amount of episodes those shows could have. So before we go any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. I imagine that there's supposed to be some news regarding the Walking Dead coming out at some point this week. I know that there was some sort of insider or something that said something about, look forward to next week. There might be something that drops next week, and I'm guessing that it has to do with The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, maybe with other shows as well. I'm not entirely sure, but actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just with Daryl Dixon Season 2. But basically, the insider said, look out for next week for some more content, with The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 2. So obviously, it's Tuesday now. Nothing has dropped yet, so I imagine at some point this week, there will probably be something here, and I don't know what that will be. I'm guessing it's going to be a release date, and it's probably going to be like a trailer or like a teaser trailer, not an official trailer or anything, but a release date I think makes some sense, and then maybe some just additional details regarding, just what the season's going to be about and all that. But in terms of Dead City, now this honestly made everyone so happy yesterday. Honestly, it just kind of blew up yesterday, and that was that Dead City is going to be 8 episodes going forward. It seems like Season 2 anyways will have 8 episodes. Then I imagine for Season 3 they could always increase it to 10, but honestly for me, I mean, we'll see how this season goes, right? Like I want to see how the story sort of plays out for these 8 episodes here, but I've always said, like, you have to do more than 6 episodes. The 6 episode format, it doesn't necessarily work really that well. Like, a lot of shows don't do 6 episodes, and I feel like if they do, you can kind of see the story being rushed and people always want more, and it's never enough. Like, it's just not the right number. It's this very small amount, and I get it. The Walking Dead did do 6 episodes in its very first season. Fear the Walking Dead did 6 episodes in its very first season, but when you look at the story back then, you were just, getting introduced to some newer characters, and it was such a small story, and the story, like, nowadays isn't small anymore. There's so much more there, and people just, I don't know, I feel like people just want more. And also, that's the thing, back then as well, it sort of ended on a cliffhanger, ended in a way where, there was hope that there was going to be more seasons of The Walking Dead, and then eventually obviously Season 2, 3, 4 and all that got announced. And so, like, I think that's people's sort of issues with it being 6 episodes is, like, it's just that you're ending things too quick. And I think with Dead City and Daryl Dixon, obviously there were some conclusions there, and then also some setup for a future season. So you never really saw that big of an issue there too much. With the story there, I think that they did it actually pretty well. But I would say around episode 4, it was like around episode 4 or 5, in that range there, it felt like things were going too fast. And I like the fact that it is going to get 8 episodes, because if you're just looking at what the story is going to be here, by the time we get to episode 4, we're only halfway. And I think that's probably the best feeling in terms of watching this show, right? Like I think when you watch 6 episodes, the first 3 episodes, like, you first watch that first week and you're getting into the story. After episode 2, you're like, oh, this is getting very interesting. I'm really excited about this show. And then once you watch the next episode, you're like halfway done the season, and then it just that's where the pacing starts to pick up quite a bit, because now they're rushing towards the ending. And then you watch episode 4 and you're like, oh, there's only 2 more left, right? So then it just becomes very rushed. Whereas now you watch those first, 2 episodes and you're like, oh, I'm so excited about the show. You watch episode 3 and then you're like, oh, there's still 5 more episodes left. I think that's so perfect, and you can really flesh out the story really well there. So I'm very excited about that, honestly. And I do think they probably could, move it up to 10. But I guess, again, we'll wait and see how 8 episodes does. I think that people want more episodes, like definitely 16 episodes. I have no issue with it really, but I do get why, in terms of the production and all that, and I guess like the budget for the show, that probably is a little bit too much. But I know a lot of people nowadays do prefer like 8 to 10 episodes in that range, and more closer to 10 episodes, just because I don't know. I think that it feels like you're watching a real show. And again, I think that AMC is a little concerned about giving us too much Walking Dead, because there was a season there, or there was a year where I think it was like 42 weeks of the year we got Walking Dead content. So it was like 42 weeks of the 52 weeks, right? I think it's because we had Fear the Walking Dead, which was 16 episodes, The Walking Dead, which was 16 episodes. So that's 32 episodes. Then I think there was 10 episodes of World Beyond or something like that. So it was like, as a lot of content, obviously. But I don't think that's necessarily, a big issue. And again, like, definitely that's a lot. But if you just look at what they're doing now, they're only doing 8 episodes each. So in 2025, both shows, Dead City and Daryl Dixon season 3, are probably going to be 8 episodes each. And so I'm assuming that, in total, there'll be 16 episodes unless they announce a spinoff for that year. But it's probably going to be 16 episodes. And I think they probably could do more, honestly. They could definitely do 10 episodes each. I think that would work really well. But 8 episodes definitely is so much better than 6, like way better. You're getting a whole extra quarter of, screen time, and just, you're getting 2 extra episodes to actually be able to flesh out a story properly and give a lot more, screen time to certain characters. And so I'm very excited about that. I definitely am. And I hope that Daryl Dixon season 3 has that. I don't think Daryl Dixon season 2 is going to have 8 episodes. I think this was a plan that they probably, changed more recently. And I do wonder if it happened with all the complaints about The Ones Who Live. Because again, The Ones Who Live was only 6 episodes. And even if they wanted to tell the exact same ending that they did, I think even 8 episodes probably wouldn't have been enough. I would have preferred that over 6. But I think they probably could have done 10 episodes, to be honest. 10 episodes, like, if you knew that show was going to be just that. I know they're saying that Rick and Michonne, or like they want them to come back, and there's more story there, and Denai Guerrera doesn't want to answer certain things because of, I think that's just sort of what they like to do. They like to surprise people. Like, that's just kind of the way it's always been. Like at Comic-Con, one year, I don't know if it'll be this year, but like next year, I could see them just coming up on stage and being like, all right, Rick and Michonne are back, this and that. And again, I think a lot of that really depends on the other shows like Daryl Dixon and Dead City. Like, whatever's happening with those shows is going to really tell us a lot about, when Rick and Michonne can come back. I think Rick could show up in these shows, though. He could definitely show up in like a cameo scene or something like that. But yeah, in terms of, that whenever that Endgame thing starts, or whatever that next series is going to be, I think that it's going to take Daryl maybe coming back from France, or maybe they eventually just go to France, or like, we'll have to see where the story's going, right? Like, we're going to have to connect everything and be like, oh, so this is how it can connect to Rick, right? Like, that's where we're at right now. And I think Gimple's going to put a lot of things in place here to set all of that up, to get fans very, very excited. And I think that's where Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera know exactly where to go with the story afterwards. Like, all right, so this is how we can sort of connect all of it here. But for Daryl Dixon season 2, I think it is going to be 6 episodes. I don't think that they're going to do 8 episodes. I think the response to the finale being so rushed was the reason why, I think they're doing 8 episodes. And I've been saying it for a long time. I've been saying this for the last year. Well, I think it was after Daryl Dixon. I think Dead City, I said that, 6 episodes just didn't work, this and that. Like, I think you need a little bit more, like 8 episodes. And then Daryl Dixon, I was like, oh, we'll wait and see, right? And eventually I watched that show, and it wasn't so bad. Obviously, I think that they handled the pacing much better, but it was still missing something. And then you get to The Ones Who Live, which obviously was the worst of the 3. Like, really, really rushed that. So I look at it all now and I'm like, you know what? I think, first of all, they filmed Daryl Dixon season 2 last year and stuff. And I think it went into this year a little bit. I'm not too sure, but that was already something that was happening last year. And I think that change just sort of came in now in the last couple of months here, or last month or two for sure. So I think going forward, I believe Daryl Dixon season 3 is filming in June. So like next month, actually. That flew by. I kept thinking June was like months away. I was literally just next month. That's crazy. Anyways, I believe that season will also have 8 episodes as well. And then I think that will sort of be the standard going forward. And then maybe future seasons get more episodes. I would love that. Like you could do more than 10. I'm not going to complain about that. But I do think if you're going to increase it to anything, 10 episodes would be perfect. But we'll see how fans, respond to 8 episodes. The reason why I feel like 8 episodes might just work and it might be the perfect number is really because of the fact that The Walking Dead used to tell stories like that anyways. And like these 8 episode blocks, right? Like, we'd always get 8 episodes for a mid-season finale, then 8 episodes later. So I kind of like what they're doing in this sense, because it's going to feel like, your typical Walking Dead season. If you think about it, back in the day, before the spinoffs even came out, it was just 16 episodes a year. You'll get 8 episodes in the fall and then 8 episodes in the early winter, right? That was basically it. And then we'd have to wait all summer with no Walking Dead content. And then it would just sort of be the same old thing every single season, right? So it's basically a return to that. We're going to get 8 episodes in the summer, fall, and then another 8 episodes in like the early winter, like that, at least for like the next year or so. And then we'll see what they plan. I mean, obviously, I do think other spinoffs and stuff will get announced, but I think right now they want to focus a lot on this and get these shows going, and then we'll see. I do think there is going to be a new spinoff probably in like 2026. I think right now they're focusing on this. Maybe they're going to announce something at Comic-Con. We'll have to wait and see, but I think that is sort of the focus right now, and then we'll see, I guess, Comic-Con this year, you know, what the next thing is going to be, because right now they're so focused on Daryl Dixon and Dead City. Like, I don't know when Rick and Michonne are returning. It might not be for like, you know, 3 or 4 years, or maybe even 5 years. Like, it might be a while. Like, I have no idea, literally no idea. So it really depends on that. But if they know it's not going to be for some time, they could definitely do another spinoff here, right? So I think they just need to come up with a good idea. And again, I still think Tales of the Walking Dead was a good idea. It's just the stories that they told. They really, I don't know why they decided to do what they did. There was so much of the stories. And again, if you haven't checked out my review for Tales of the Walking Dead, definitely go do so, because I sort of talk about all of that in there. But it really is like, and see, that show, that works for 6 episodes because it's more of, you know, their standalone stories. But the characters they chose to bring back, like the Alpha episode was fine, but there were certain connections that they made, or not connections they made. They didn't make any connections. Like, there were certain stories that were really, like, honestly, I think were fine stories. You know, they were entertaining, they were different. There was that one episode with Terry Crews, but they could have connected that story with the story that Tyrese actually tells in I think it's Walking Dead season 4, or maybe it's season 5 or 3, around there anyways. He tells a story about a neighbor that he had, and I believe his neighbor, I could be wrong about this because it's been so long since I've watched it, but I think his neighbor had the same name as Terry Crews' character, and his neighbor had a bunker, and, you know, Terry Crews' character had a bunker, and he was so prepared for the apocalypse. Like, there was a connection there that could have been made that would have made that story way more interesting, but they never did. That wasn't actually a thing. You could have had Tyrese show up for a second or something, right? Like in like a flashback scene. Like, I don't know. There was a lot of little things like that that you could have done, easily could have done. And I think that's what made Tales of the Walking Dead not that exciting. That show could honestly be a big hit. Like, if you're telling certain stories, you get like the governor to come back, and like, honestly, there is a lot. You can do a what if scenario thing. Like, we've talked about this before. There's so much that you can do with that show. Maybe you need a bigger budget, maybe, but there's a lot that you can do with that show to make it very, very exciting. But anyways, I'm rambling here. I'm going to leave it here. It looks like Dead City Season 2 is going to have 8 episodes, and that's obviously very, very exciting here. Kim Coates did actually say it in an interview here, and I mean, yeah, who knows? Maybe he got like mixed up and he said 8 episodes and it's actually 6 episodes. I don't think he would make that mistake, but yeah, I'm definitely very excited. So post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.